Lamma. I'm from Lamma, Cameroon, and I am an environmental and climate justice advocate and a climate reality leader. So I come from a community where, as a young girl, I grew up from a rural background where I saw my mom go through a lot as a woman who lost her husband, and not only losing her husband, but she lost everything that belonged to him, and that includes his name. And that was crazy for us because we had to grow up not knowing our father nor his family, but not even having his name because culture did not permit my mom to own anything unless she got married to her brothers, to his brothers. So being the woman that she was, she denied that, and she decided to take care of herself and fend for her daughters. Then I remember how she stayed in the forest for weeks trying to get working in people's farms just because she wanted to get enough money to provide her two girls with Christmas clothes when December came around, so we don't be the only ones missing out with beautiful Christmas clothes. And she taught us that nature could be a source for empowerment as a woman. We saw her planting vegetables and growing up. Then we moved from the rural community to an urban area where I went through school and found interest in environmental studies and in science. Went to university and took a bachelor's degree in geology and environmental science. I came back home and told my mom, but there's something about politics that I want to get involved in. And she said, oh, so you want to be a politician? I said, I don't know, but I don't really want to be a politician, but there's something about politics I want to be involved in. But as years went on, I started volunteering with an environmental-based organization, Forest Resources and People. Volunteering Forest Resources and People led me to obtain my master's degree in environmental protection, natural resource management and environmental protection. Then I understood this was where I was able to say, oh, I found my space. It was not about being a politician, it was about influencing policies, environmental policies around Cameroon and across Africa. And then I found my space in advocacy where my interest was around women and young people. Why women? Because women are nurturers of the earth and they take care of forest resources, but they are not part of decisions. They are not part of discussions. They don't own land. They are just the property of the man. Like most cultures across Africa, that was exactly what I saw with my mom. And then I grew up seeing this again in many other communities, and I knew that this was really serious. Going through 162 communities in Cameroon and able to identify that women do not have a place when it comes to decision around natural resource management space. Then my interest in children came because I realized climate change was not just a woman's thing or a community's thing, but it was an intergenerational thing. And children will face the brunt of it if they are not taught about climate change today, which led me to start establishing eco clubs in schools and using creative art as a tool to empower children to become climate ambassadors, and also teaching women how to understand climate change from a very basic level, using their seasonal calendars, using historical trends, using participatory land use maps and other participatory rural appraisal tools that could be used in communities to encourage them to partake in decision-making platforms and programs. And aside that, you realize that these women are beginning to grow, and I have found my own space as an environmental, as someone in the environmental milieu who is advocating for the rights of women in the climate space. My future with climate space is I envisage a community where everyone has a decision in the climate milieu, and I look forward to establish an institution known as the Zero of the Nations, where I'll be able to empower over 100 girls yearly using climate education and natural resource management education as a main way to empower them to become climate ambassadors. If that is established, then I know that I must have been able to meet my vision for my life, and above all, I hope I'm working on a curriculum on climate education where I hope that the Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Education in Cameroon will accept it and incorporate it into the basic curriculum of Cameroon from nursery right up to the university level, so that by the time I am taking my PhD now in natural resource and environmental management, and I hope by the time I finish up with this program, this curriculum must have been accepted in Cameroon and it will be implemented across schools and across different platforms in the national territory. I got trained as a climate reality leader in 2020. It was the online training, and during that training, the truth be told, I saw something, a training on climate change, and I decided to come to it, not knowing firstly what the Climate Reality Project was all about. But in the course of training, I came across lots of content around climate change when Mr. Algor did some of his presentations, and then I had the opportunity to be mentored by one of the mentors during that session, and also I was able to connect with other climate reality leaders, got to know some of the things they do in their communities, and I was inspired. Then as time went on, I began finding my particular space, and then I was able to take up a few I started registering my acts of leadership onto the platform, and then that is when I realized that every little thing I was doing actually mattered and it was counting. That is where I really began identifying my voice and my space within the climate environment. Before receiving the UN Agora Award at COP, I received the African Climate Reality Impact Grant, which was very, very supportive to the work I'm doing with rural communities. And then here came the UN Agora Award, which was like the spark in the work I do. I was taken off my feet. I couldn't believe that this was what working in rural communities would lead to. The recognition that comes with the work that is done passionately is what actually made me feel more inspired with the work I do as an individual. And I feel like there is more for me to put in. I began looking at the communities and I appreciated them more for giving me their time to be able to come with all the passion, with all the zeal I had, and put hands together with me to be able to solve the crisis within their community, especially the women. I mean, I couldn't have been at this point as the UN Agora My Climate Action Award winner if I didn't have a community where I was working in. So one of the greatest things with every leader is you need acceptance. The community you're working with needs to accept you. And how does the community accept you? You need to prove to them that they can trust you with the work that you're doing. They can trust you to be able to take their voices to where you've told them that you will take their voices to. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing now is because I had a community which took me in and accepted that I should be able to do this work with them in their area to be able to solve the climate issue with them as the main people in the forefront. And most of the times when we get into communities, we make them to understand that the work that we are doing is not all about us, it's about them. And when we give those promises, we need to ensure that those promises are kept and they are carried along, and we will get their support all the way. So the UN Agora Award is going to help to boost the African Climate Reality Impact Grant that was received early this year, which will be carrying out some trainings in these communities with women in particular on beekeeping, nursery establishment, and home gardening. So with the UN Agora Award, we are going to expand our work in these communities and extend our nursery, extend our home gardens, extend our bee farms, and also expand to other communities surrounding the Bimbia Bonantikomo community forest in Cameroon. The reason is because we want to reach more women and want to be able to reach more communities and help to conserve the Congo Basin, which I am working in Cameroon. And in the long run, you see, the UN Agora Award is a means of climate finance for projects in the Congo Basin. And with more awards and sources of income coming in as such, we are sure to be able to work towards conserving the Congo Basin and minimizing the impact of climate change. At COP presently, we are talking about a net zero, and how do we achieve a net zero when we can't do work on the ground. So work support like this, like the UN Agora Award, will enable us to, we hope that in the nearest future we'll be able to train these women on micro-enterprise development skills, so that all the other livelihood trainings we are giving them, they will be able to transform it into businesses, and they can sell and get money from their produce, and are able to take care of their homes, take care of their children and themselves, and become financially able to be part of decision-making platforms and programs without being talked down because they are poor, or without being talked down because they are not educated, without being talked down because they don't own their own land. So when these women are financially empowered, they'll be able to have a voice in their communities, and they'll be given a seat at climate change decision-making platforms and programs in their communities. We hope that as more climate finance comes into our hands, we are going to do solar-powered nursery alongside a solar-powered borehole, because most of the women we are working with work in their farms during the day, and in the night when they come back, they might want to come to the nursery to work, but there is no electricity in their communities to enable them water the nursery, and there is no their water sources are drying up. So with a solar-powered nursery and a solar-powered borehole, they will have water to water the nursery while they have electricity to see how they are doing the work during the evening hours. So that is what we hope to do with the UN Agora Award, and with other climate finances coming in to support our work in Cameroon, with particular interest in the Binia Bonantikombo Community Forest, which is part of the Congo Basin. And with a lot of more climate finance coming in, we believe that there are other projects around the Congo Basin which can also be supported, and will be fighting one cause as one man with one voice. A climate reality leader is simple, and I think the first thing that you have to do is get online and go on the web page and find the link that provides you an opportunity for the training whenever it comes up. Then be serious in the training, take part in it, and complete your courses and submit assignments in due time. Connect with other climate leaders and get to interact. Listen to presentations that are being put up on during trainings and on platforms, and try to fill up all your acts of leadership and then involved with your branch. And being a climate activist streams up not only as from you being a climate reality leader, but being a climate reality leader gives you a wider platform where your climate activism has a better voice. And as a climate activist or a climate reality leader, understand that there are different spaces within the climate milieu. Because you are an economist, a banker, or an engineer, does not mean you cannot be a climate activist. You can get involved in your own space and and try to identify how economics matters in climate change, how health matters in climate change, how business matters in climate change, and how engineering is important in climate change. We can all use our different backgrounds to be able to solve the climate crisis in one way or the other. We don't need to do exactly what the person next door is doing, but with your own initiative and with your own skills, you're able to contribute positively to solving the climate crisis in your area. So do the little act, clean the beach, plant a tree, just clean the river, put together people to educate, establish eco clubs, run environmental programs, you're already doing climate activism. Go on radio and communicate, tell the people what they need to know about climate change. You're doing climate activism. What are you saying? Go on social media, post and talk about climate change. Encourage young people to be part of the movement. Encourage young leaders to be part of the voice. Join positive campaigns that talk about solving the climate crisis. That is as simple as it is, and you are a climate activist and certified as a climate reality leader. You just need to go through the training and come out a full climate activist with a certificate that backs you in your activism. So it's really easy and it's very, very beneficial to you if you need to be someone who wants your voice to be heard within the climate space. This is my very first COP and I'm excited, just like the UN Agora Awards. It was a dream come true to me. I've always wanted to attend a COP, and thanks to the African Climate Reality Project, I was given a chance to be part of COP27. At COP, I've been able to meet with world leaders, businessmen, other activists around the climate space. I've been able to meet with students, innovators. I've been able to meet with a lot of people who have inspired me, and at some point I've been able to inspire one or two people with words, with speeches, with discussions, and also with the current video on African Voices for African Thoughts. So getting to meet these people, it's like I wouldn't have been able to do so without being present at this point. And I've been able to exchange contact and working on creating business deals with some, working on getting scholarship opportunities for further education with some, and also I've been able to see how negotiations are being made and how advocacy is made from a different angle, how activists come together and they are able to speak out for a particular cause that they believe in, how civil societies are able to make their voices heard, how leaders come together and they are able to make decisions and come out with acceptable decisions for their communities and for their countries. I think COP is a platform where I think that if everyone, I personally, I envisaged COP, when I was coming, I was envisaging COP like this big room where everybody comes together and we sit and then we talk and then just have everybody's voice heard. We have a big table, we bring people from indigenous people, community people, the government, policymakers and all, sit on this table and let's get talking. But I saw a different structure, different setting, and some areas are open, some are closed. And I keep thinking, if world leaders are coming together and civil society is coming together, normal people are coming together, then there still needs to be something that has to be done where we are able to create a single platform where we can have all of these people of different backgrounds and different categories standing on that same platform at the same time, speaking the same thing and accepting on the same negotiations, where one group of people doesn't negotiate and pass it on to the others. I believe in a bottom-top approach, and I believe that COP is able to is able to put that in and accept information from people from a basic level right up to the policy level where decisions are made. And by the way, COP27 is in Africa, and I believe at COP27 this year we are going to make decisions that will favor Africa and also favor the world alike. Someone said when Africa is blessed, the whole world is blessed, and I believe that is true because Africa has like one of the highest percentage of world forests, and if we protect the forests in Africa, we are definitely protecting the world. If we protect the population in Africa, we are definitely protecting the whole world. So I was in a campaign this morning which was talking about Don't Gas Africa, and I believe that this is a message that goes through to COP, that we don't gas Africa, we protect Africa because we believe that gender justice is actually social justice. So when I identified my space within as a climate reality leader, one of the things that I did was I tried to organize a session to commemorate a 24 hours of reality in my area, and this brought together young people where we had discussions about how different spaces are affected by climate change, from natural resources to agriculture and the ecosystem, and then how GIS could be used as a way to be able to solve the climate crisis. And most importantly, what makes it even more interesting for me is that my focus around women and young people in rural communities of Cameroon have grown over the years, knowing fully well facts and information and content and data around climate change. I've been able to understand exactly what solutions to provide within the communities I work in, such as mushroom cultivation, bee farming, home gardening, and also nursery establishment involving women and children in landscape restoration and climate leadership activities. And this has been one of the things that has made me feel that the climate space within my community needs a lot more attention, because as much as I'm trying to reach out to the communities I'm reaching presently, I believe there is still a need for more communities to be reached with climate knowledge and also with some of the nature-based solutions we are providing to them. And this is exactly what gives me joy and what has made me understand that I am doing something that is creating impact within my community.